All right, time now for some politics. Joining me this morning, political strategist and author Mike Madrid. Mike, welcome. Nice to have you here. Could it be safe to say your specific level of interest is Latino, Hispanic politics nationally?
I think that's fair to say,
okay,
yeah.
Fair to say. You had some new polling you mentioned that's out this morning. What did you find?
Yeah, some new AP polling out this morning nationally showing a significant decline in support for President Trump, coming on the heels of this really record level of support he got in October of 2024, last November's elections. So we're witnessing kind of this really swingy voter group. It's the largest ethnic voting bloc in America. It's moving back and forth and kind of rejecting both parties, primarily driven because of economic anxiety, economic concerns.
So that's what's driving the lack of, or less support for President Trump.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Now, it's being cemented by the fact that these ICE raids and crackdowns are obviously affecting the community, but we are also seeing higher levels of support for those measures than we've ever seen before amongst Latinos. Certainly not a majority, but the Latino electorate is changing. The one common thread that remains consistent is economics, economics, economics.
Sure. Is that different between younger Hispanics versus older Hispanics? Is there a difference there?
There's a slight difference. That's a really great question. Younger Hispanics are the ones that are really dramatically different. Latinos under 30, and just to show you the size of the change here, about 1/3 of all the Latino voters in the country are 30 years of age or younger. 80% of them are U.S. born, English dominant or English exclusive, very different than their parents and grandparents, who more than half of them naturalized and became citizens themselves, not as tied to the immigration issue at all.
Right.
That's why you're seeing these changes, much more driven by affordability and cost of living issues.
So you can't necessarily look at a Hispanic voter nationally and say they tend to trend Republican or Democrat, right? It depends, as you mentioned, on age and economic status.
That's a great way to put it. Yes, that's absolutely right. And generational degree moved from the immigrant experience. But the one thing that we can say is, regardless of whether you're Puerto Rican, Cuban, Mexican American, Dominican, it's the economy is moving Latinos in New York and New Jersey and Florida and Texas and California.
Is the, say, younger Hispanic voter different in California than nationally?
No, they're really largely the same. And a lot of the problems that the Democratic Party has been having with Latinos are with younger people, are with non-college educated people, and the concentric circle is there's a pretty big overlap between Latinos, particularly males, and all of these other constituencies. So we're watching that Latino male vote really closely to see what the future of the country is going to look like.
What do you think is going to happen with Prop 50 in terms of the Hispanic vote? Is there a dog in the fight with that?
I don't think there's a dog in the fight with most people. I mean, candidly, if you look at the polling data, it's really driven by whether you support Trump or are anti-Trump. Mm-hmm. That's bad news for those that are pro-Trump in California, because it still remains a decisively pro-democratic state. But this voter, the question I think is going to be whether they show up or not. Young Latino males under the age of 30 will be determinative not just in the outcome of this race, but really in the midterms. What's going to happen in the midterms coming next year?
Was there, could you say 30 years ago that the Hispanic voting bloc was Democrat and is more shifted to the right?
I think that's a great question, because we've always heard Latinos are not monolithic. The truth is, in terms of voting behavior, we have been monolithic. So yes, that is changing, but the way you said it, I really like. It's not that they're becoming more Republican. There's very little evidence saying Latinos are becoming more conservative. There's overwhelming evidence saying that they're leaving both parties, and the Democrats had a longer way to go as Latinos become more populist, more anti-party, and more upset at the economic concerns that seem to be failing them at this moment in history.
It's a big responsibility. Latino now 40% of the California population, as opposed to 34% for non.
Right.
So wow, how about that? Mike, feel free to use anything I said that you agreed with. Feel free to use that. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks.
Mike Madrid, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.